Hello, my fellow hermits, and welcome to a mystery reading session. I am not aware of what the topic is going to be for today's reading, so ask a question. You've probably come already with something on your mind and are needing something a little less specific that's in the algorithm for today. So choose a pile, whatever you feel like is calling to you. You can choose by crystal, you can choose by card, and then we'll get further into the reading and we'll get into what the situation is, first of all, to ensure that I'm channeling your energy correctly and that that's the right pile. If you don't see yourself in the pile that you've chosen, feel free to choose another pile that you've gravitated towards, or feel free to choose a different video. And then from there, we will get into what is actually going to happen with the situation, what is going to happen for you, to see what direction that you would like to go to. So I'll see you there. Hello, pile one, and welcome to your reading for today. So before we get into this pile, I was thinking I needed a more vibrant crystal that I don't have in order to represent this group. And I'm not sure what that message carries. It could be that you want to feel more vibrant, or you are a vibrant person in general, or maybe this situation is bringing a level of vibrance into your life. The situation that you're asking about, to ensure that this is your pile, is represented by the Eight of Wands and the Hierophant. So for some reason, I'm getting religious undertones. I always do with the Hierophant, so it could be that you are part of a religious organization or a religious group. This card in general represents tradition and following the rules of what came before you, following an organization of some kind. It could also mean higher education for people who are not very religious but are more so spiritual. So take it how it resonates, obviously. And you also have the Eight of Wands, which talks about moving quickly. You could talk about travel, but it's a very positive energy with the Eight of Wands upright, where things are moving very fast and you are receiving a lot of yeses to what you're asking the universe. So I asked for more clarification in terms of what was going on. And the reason why you're asking these questions is because you are a little frightened and you're having a lot of anxiety about what's been happening lately. I can imagine that things moving very quickly is not comfortable for you, and that, well, actually it's Wands. I haven't done this in forever, so I apologize. Nine of Wands. She's holding something to her chest. She feels the need to keep going and keep moving on and to persist. But she's, you see in the background, like there's this weird house thing that's moving, and it looks kind of like a rooster, and then you have skulls here. She's kind of being barred from moving forward, and she's holding something precious to her chest that she doesn't really want to give up, but it's exhausting you. No matter how much you want this, there's a lot of barriers. And I think that might be due to this Eight of Wands energy moving forward, is that there's so much happening for you all the time right now, and it might be positive things, but obviously it's very natural to feel overwhelmed with having so much good happen for you, because you're continuously having to fight battles. And I'm getting this imagery in my head of somebody who is going through their day and there's just like something going wrong every single second of every single day. For instance, when you're headed to work, you don't want to get up, you don't want to get out of bed, it's a nice day outside, you don't want to go into the office, and as you're going out, your jeans, the little what is it called, that thing that holds the belt, the loop on your jeans, like gets caught in the door, and then you try to get into your car and your car doesn't start for like 2 minutes, and then when you're trying to get to work, somebody in traffic cuts you off. It's that sort of feeling where even though there are a lot of good things happening and a lot of big things happening in your life, the small things seem to be getting really overwhelming for you, and you're not willing to give up on the big things because you understand how small these snags in the road are, but then you feel tired for having to deal with all these little buildups of things, because death by 1,000 cuts, these paper cuts are building up and really starting to take their toll on you. I asked for more clarification about the Eight of Wands, what specifically is happening quickly. And this imagery is interesting to me because you have the rays moving down. This crow is carrying, this bird I should say, is carrying this flame of sticks in their mouth, and they're headed towards the ground. It looks like it's snowing too. So these are very bright things coming into your life. It's almost like something that feels a little misaligned with you, perhaps, especially because the snow is very different from the sun that is moving in. There might be a factor of, I don't deserve what's coming in for me, I don't deserve these good things going on, but it's not the major focus of this reading. And then you have the monkey here who is standing in this forested area and is looking towards the sun, looking towards what's coming towards him. So whatever this is that is coming in for you is very significant. You might feel that already or notice that already. And the actions that you have done thus far to get to the point that you're at now are starting to really add up. The work that you've put in positively towards this situation is moving you to a completely new direction, is moving you to almost complete things. You are at the point where this matters, whatever it is that you are asking about. And whatever decision that you make moving forward is going to have some sort of consequence on you. Very scary, but it feels like destiny is calling to you, and that you might have to, I'm hearing, make a choice about something here soon. It's not the traditional meaning, but you have the card positivity. So I feel like this is very positive energy. Sometimes it's very natural to move into negative headspace with okay, for a second I thought that she was not wearing that bra. I was like, oh, hi, good morning. There is a need almost to not become so negative, to maintain a more positive mindset with this reading. Again, imposter syndrome could be a very valid thing, but you have the offering as well. And the offering is the journey that you're on right now. In order to offer something, you're going to have to make some sort of sacrifice to get there. This talks more about the self than it does about the offering. It talks about offering yourself to the world almost, and to the people around you. And the vibe that I got from this message is more so that you have to sacrifice the negativity that you feel towards yourself, or you have to give into something that might be uncomfortable first for you to get ahead. The example that came to mind when I pulled this card was, I'm a hermit as well. I'm very introverted myself, and I have received feedback before in my life where people want me to be more open and less professional, and want me to be more vulnerable with them. And that's uncomfortable, because when you are vulnerable with people, that is giving them leeway to use your vulnerability against you. If you've been in situations like that before, which I'm sure you have been, it's really hard to trust that someone is going to have your best interests at heart. And that might be what you're going through right now, where you are having to offer yourself to maybe a group of people, maybe to this organization. You're tired already from everything else going on in your life. You know that there's a lot of good things coming, but you have to almost, as I said with judgment, like make a decision on how you want to move and how you want to present yourself. And the universe is saying, offer yourself to this situation right now, and you might have something beautiful come out of this. To clarify the Hierophant, we have the Tower, the King of Swords, and then we have the 9 of Coins. I feel like this is about you, but this could definitely be about a different person. So if this is about a different person, assume that I'm talking about them. But for now, I'm going to say that this is you. You seem like a very rational person. You have stuff on your plate. You don't consider yourself very emotional per se. You feel like you're more of a logical person, which makes sense. And you might be an air sign. I don't feel like this is really relevant to the reading, but air is pretty prevalent amongst these cards. This could be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You are the type of person that's independent. I don't feel like you like other people taking care of you all that often, and that you want to rule in fairness. You don't really like to consider emotions in the decisions that you make in your life, and you don't want to consider emotions in this situation moving forward. It could also be that this organization itself has that energy where they want to be straight to the facts. They want to be straight with the logic. They don't want to be emotional in the decisions that they have to make moving forward, or they don't want you to be emotional in the decision that you have to make moving forward. Something has happened recently to where you feel like your life is I think the first question that I'm going to ask for this mystery reading is why the rug was pulled out from underneath you. And then we're going to ask more so where this is leading you as well. So why did the universe pull the rug out from underneath you? What were they trying to get you to see? The Wheel of Fortune. I'm hearing in my head it was time for this to happen. You were going through some sort of cycle in your life. And I'm hearing in my head, before I get into this, it's not your fault. I feel like you really need to know that with this situation. This was bound to happen. This was just brewing in the background for a long time. I don't think you really had control over the full scope of this situation and what you were put through. So if you're the type of person where you're like, I should have seen this coming, I should have planned for it, there was no way for you to do that in this case. The situation was completely in the universe's hands. This is just a cycle that you have to go through, and it's temporary. That's what the Wheel of Fortune talks about. This isn't going to be a permanent state for you. This is going to eventually pass, and like all things with the Wheel of Fortune, you're going to have your ups and your downs with this situation. And what do the universe need you to see? putting you through this. The Emperor in reverse. You can't control everything. You didn't have control over the tower moment. You don't have control over what this community decides to do and how they decide to move forward. You don't have control over what's traditional versus what's non-traditional. If we're going back to that Hierophant message, either you have had somebody making decisions for you for a while that you've needed to set boundaries with. That could be one case with the Emperor, or it's that you've been really controlling of other people to the point where you needed to sit back and let things happen for you instead. Let's actually clarify the Emperor. Let's see which direction that's Spirit. Okay. Eight of Coins in reverse. So you were holding on to something that was like your pride and joy for a while, and this thing was hurting you. I'm getting the sense this is maybe career related at this point rather than related to a person. Someone might have been overly controlling in the Emperor situation, and they might have been trying to move you to a certain direction that you didn't necessarily want to go, and you really needed to set a boundary with them. Or it's that you were pushing yourself too hard. I think that could also be the case. And you were trying to do the logical thing, trying to plan for something, and the universe stripped that away from you because it's hurting you. See, there's thorns in her feet here. She's like hunched over the pentacle that is also giving her pain. You were overworking yourself. You were trying to get to a point in your life where you were probably stable, where you had something, but you didn't take the time to rest. You didn't take the time to take care of yourself. You were so invested in this creation that you were willing to do whatever it took. I feel like this is something related to this situation was hurting you for a while, and the universe said, enough. We're not going to continue to let you live like this forever because it's not helping you. This could be monetary related too, like you felt like you had to make more money than you do right now, and so you were trying to do the two jobs to retire early, or you needed to work really hard to get ahead in life, and that's something that you always clung to. What sort of situation are you in now? Which, by the way, is not your fault. Like, the economy is trash, and I can't tell you how to take care of your financial situation because we're both in the same boat, I guarantee you. So what direction does the universe want you to move in? Or what direction are you moving in? And I'm going to, what's the short term of this situation? The short term direction. The Star. So there is hope. And I think that you are feeling a little bit hopeful about the future. You are looking for some sort of guidance in the short term. And what guidance do you need to hear in the short term? I feel like I should pull a mermaid card for this. What guidance? Move forward. And hope. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to move forward. Don't allow this to be a permanent setback because it's only a temporary setback. There is hope for the future in moving towards whatever it is that you want in life. So where is Spirit leading you in the long term? Sorry, that just fell out of the deck. Let me reshuffle. Oh my god. Okay. I felt like that fell out. If it's meant to be, it'll come out again. Okay. 10 of Wands, and then the World. There is very couple energy here, so I don't know if there's someone in your life that is really helpful. Well, maybe I shouldn't say couple, because a lot of these people do look the same, but this does look intimate. You have these two people here, that you have a man here and then you have a woman here, and they both do look pretty similar. So maybe this could be a fatherly figure because his hair is more gray, and then this woman's hair is more blonde. It is kind of reminding me of Ariel and her father, even though this is the mermaid deck. So you could have a situation where maybe you have a fatherly figure that's a bit controlling, and you're trying to move out of that situation and move away from having somebody make decisions for you. It looks like you're going to be carrying this burden for a while. And the imagery and metaphor that I get here is you have this skull, and then you have a tree that's coming out of the skull here. So this is a very positive 10 of Wands message. But I think in order for you to get to this point, you have to kill some version of yourself. You have to sacrifice some version of yourself to move forward. And in that ego death that you have is going to sprout something very beautiful, but this is something that you're going to have to carry for a little while longer, unfortunately. This is something that you're going to have to put effort towards, and that you're going to have to manage on top of all these other different things. It doesn't seem like everything's over, but you're handling it really well is what I'm seeing with this card here. And eventually it's going to come to an end, and it's going to be a very beautiful end. Because look at this card here. There's so many flowers blooming. There are two people. They have their heads against each other. They have their noses against each other. And they're dancing over these pears here. This is abundance from what I can see. There's abundance of flowers. There's abundance of food. It's going to be very sweet, and it's going to really close out that chapter in your life that has been haunting you for a while, and you're going to learn from it with the 10 of Wands. You're going to be able to manage it. I think it's just continuing to see that the light is really at the end of the tunnel for you, and that if you keep going, if you keep moving forward, if you keep having hope that this is going to work out for you, then it is going to. And I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask anything in the comments. I can answer those for you if you need some more tarot responses. But for now, I hope that everything works out for you, Pile 1. I hope that I answered all of the questions that you have. And I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. You can almost not even see this card. For your mystery topic today, what we got is the 2 of Swords in reverse. And this reading is going to be pretty massive because I asked tarot a lot of different questions to the point where it had to cut me off and say, you have to film the video first before I give you answers to these other questions. But the reason as to why you're here, you're in a state of indecisiveness right now, but to be honest with you, because I'm not going to mince my words during this reading, and if you're in a very sensitive space right now to where you're not ready for the truth and you know deep down you need some more time with what you're going through, then I would suggest saving this reading for another day. This is going to be a very specific reading, I feel like, so if you don't resonate with this, I would choose another pile as well. You're not making a decision about something right now, and you really do need to be making that decision to move forward with your life. And you're choosing to see things through these rose-colored glasses, almost thinking that if I stick around enough, if I deal with the situation enough, then that means my circumstances are going to change. And I'm here to tell you, unfortunately, that that's not going to be the case. This decision that you are going to need to make is going to be a hard one, but I think that it's going to lead you to what you are looking for. The reason why you are here is because you are out of balance right now, and I'm looking for the cards in the background for this. So you have Temperance in reverse. You're trying to make two things that don't work together work. You are trying to move through a conflict that you might have with somebody, As I said, you have a lot of cards. You have the Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands talks about conflict. The Five of Wands can talk about gossip, drama. It can talk about reputation. And this is minor conflict, but because you're not really addressing how you feel or you're addressing your truth, and I'm going to bring in the Poet. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The conflict is kind of becoming bigger than what you initially expected that it was going to be. Things are being left unsaid, things are left being unaddressed, and because of that, things are building and compounding. And you not making this decision to do what is best and what is right for you, that you know deep down in your soul, is just causing this situation to get worse. And you're trying to avoid some sort of ego death. You're trying to avoid some sort of rock bottom. This is a pretty bloody card too. But this seems like a very emo sort of pile or an emo sort of group. And I mean that in a more positive than negative connotation. You're trying to avoid ego death. You're trying to avoid people maybe talking about you. You're trying to avoid some sort of fallout, some sort of drama. But I feel like the only way for you to really avoid it is for you to address the situation head on. You have the Poet here, and the Poet talks about speaking your truth. It talks about going out and experiencing life, and then no matter how negative or positive that experience is, you come back, you write about it, you speak on it, and even if people don't appreciate you, you still care about the truth. And I think right now, whether or not you know this, is there's a lot of delusion here. There's a lot of blind hope that this situation is going to change, that circumstances are going to be different, that maybe the solution is going to come to you and the universe is going to intervene. But I don't think that that's the case. I don't think you're seeing something the way that you should be seeing them, and you're choosing to ignore the reality of the situation for the sake of your comfort, rather than making the hard decision and then moving forward towards a place that's less tumultuous for you. This has something to do with a situation that has just been exhausting you lately. You've been fighting at this for a long time. You've been trying your best to not give up on this. Maybe because there's some sort of stake, whether that's financial, emotional. We'll maybe get more into that when we get into the future. But you've been fighting at this for a while. You've been exhausted with everything, and you don't want to give up on it, but maybe that is what you need to do in this case. You also have the Eight of Spears, again addressing that facet where you've been working hard on this. You've been putting your heart and soul into this thing, but as I said with group one, it's been really hurting you, and it's not been feeling your soul and feeling your spirit. You feel almost like you're settling with this option that you're being given. And this is the card of sometimes taking shortcuts. This is the card of putting your all into something and not being appreciated, or not being, you're not receiving what you thought that you would almost out of this craft. And I think that that's really been weighing heavily down upon you, because you've been thinking that you're going to get something more from this, but you're really just not. You're continuing to work at something that just isn't truthful to you, isn't truthful to what you want for the future. And that really shows when I asked more questions about what the decision involves. One choice that you have to make is something that really satisfies you. You've been manifesting this option, so you'll probably know what this is. You've been putting intention towards this. This makes you confident. This makes you feel good about yourself. This makes you feel like you have all the resources to do it done. And this is a dream come true if you were to have it. This fulfills everything that you've ever wanted in your life if you could have it. And the other option that you have is you can choose to settle with the life that you've built right now with the Four of Wands. There's still positivity associated with the Four of Wands. This is setting down your roots, setting down your home, setting down your future. And I feel like this might be somebody, but if this resonates more with you, I'd take this to mean your career, or how, I feel like you know what the two options are available to you. This is settling for what you have now. there is a person involved in this situation. Queen of Wands. This is attention related almost, because the Queen of Wands is very magnetic. She's very sensual, she's very sexy, she's very charismatic. She has all the attention in the room. She's able to be very sociable with other people. So if this is about another person that you're choosing to settle with, this would be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. This person's very magnetic to you. And this person I don't think is a bad person necessarily, but if this was about another person, then I feel like you would know if I'm talking about them, basically. Because there might be something about them where you're not quite satisfied with them, and you're choosing not to see the truth of that, because the thing about life is that it's not always going to be a black and white thing, as we all know. These cards are very black and white themselves. But some people in relationships can be awesome, amazing. They can be your best friend in the world, and you might not really get along with them. You might not be as compatible as you thought that you were with them. And it's hard to be in those types of relationships where nothing goes wrong, because nobody is really to blame. And today's day and age, I feel like people want to have something to blame, want things to be black and white, because that makes the decision easier. I don't think you really want to hurt this person if it is involved with this person. I think that you really want to love them, but there is a part of you where you don't really feel fulfilled with this Ten of Cups. You don't feel like they're giving you everything that you would like to give. And one direction I can see that this going, oh, that's Big Time Rush. One direction that I see this going is that, like, maybe this person settling though, you know, maybe you need to, if you are not wanting to leave them, then you're gonna have to make the decision to stick with them, stick your decision. You are going to have to realize that this person is not going to be able to address everything for you, that they're not going to be your magnum opus, is what I'm hearing, if that's even what I'm trying to say. And that you have to provide certain things for yourself in order to move forward in life. You're going to have to settle with that notion if you choose to be with this person. They're not going to change for you, and maybe they don't have to, you know? And the other side of this that I see is that I know you don't want to hurt this person, but this could be a situation where the longer that you stick around with them and the longer that you make them feel like they are your person, the harder it's going to be for both of you to move on from each other. And if you know deep in your heart that this person is not who you want to be with, then let them choose somebody who does. And you get to choose too who makes you feel good. You get to choose too who is your person. That is a lot kinder than living a lie with somebody and then years later realizing, I'm so dissatisfied. I've spent my entire life with somebody who I know is not my person. That is what I see here. And then you also have the Hanged Man. And again, this addresses that choice to not see things for as they are, that choice to not live within reality. You're trying to control the situation and maybe change this person or change this situation to be what you want it to be, but it's not moving in that direction. And you're tired because it's like, it's an immovable force. It's an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. You keep trying and trying and trying and trying to get this situation to work out for you, but it's really not. And if this is not about another person, if this is about you and your situation and what you're doing right now, I think that the Queen of Wands could represent support, and it says communication too. So maybe some things do need to be communicated, that, you know, it could also be that you're just not expressing your boundaries correctly, and that this person is wonderful to you, but there's some things that you need them to do, and you just need to ask it to see whether or not they're capable of doing that for you. You don't want to lose them, but then you have to have that conversation first to know exactly what they're thinking. I fall into this trap too, where you assume what people want, you assume what people are looking for in you, and you try your best not to overstep, but then you're walking on eggshells the whole relationship because you think this other person is doing one thing to you or for you, and they're really not, and that's not what they're looking for. There needs to be some sort of communication here in terms of that question that you have on your mind that you want to ask another person. But with support here as well, I feel like you're really worried that if you make this decision, if this is not involving another person, that you're going to lose out on the attention that you have or the magnetism that you have around other people. So you feel like you have to settle with what you have now, because the dream that you've been trying to manifest, whether that is maybe poetry related or writer related, or, you know, a career that's not technically what other people think that you should have, you are not wanting to follow your dreams because you're worried people are going to find it silly, or people aren't going to support you in the way that you think that they're going to support you. I guess my question to that is that I can't answer, but I'm certain that you might have an answer. Do you really want to live your life like that? If people are not supportive of you and your dreams and they don't see your vision, then how are you going to feel when you listen to that advice your entire life? And then, dramatic, but you know, you're on your deathbed and you're thinking to yourself, I didn't do the thing that I really wanted to do my whole life. I didn't put forward with what I wanted to do because other people said it was silly, but I knew that I wanted to do this all this time. And you'll never know what's going to happen from your dreams unless you actually try to do something for them. You actually try to do something for yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, nobody's going to be able to make that decision for you. Nobody's going to be able to write the book for you. Nobody else is going to be able to push you to do things or to dream. That is something that belongs to you, and you have to put action towards that. You have to be committed towards that in order for it to see fruition. Because manifesting something in the spiritual community, that's great. We talk about manifestation all the time and having a positive mindset, and that is an important concept to have. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're never actually putting action towards it, there's only so much that the universe can do for you before it can't do anything. The universe can't write your book for you, for example. The universe can't make you a fantastic painter. You have to be the one to put that effort into things. And I feel like this lack of indecision, or this indecision itself, is because you don't want to have people go against you. You're afraid of what other people are going to think about it. And in truth, it doesn't matter. You know, the people that are supposed to be in your life, from what I've learned through my own experiences, are the people that you don't really need to explain that dream to. They're going to support you regardless. Do you care that your best friend in the world has a specific job? For instance, if your best friend was a plumber, would you love them any less? You probably wouldn't. So if other people care so much about your dreams and your vision and are only around you to give you attention because you are successful or because you have some monetary value about you, that's not love, that's not support. That's just people trying to take advantage of you. That's just users. And it's easier said than done, but sometimes you just have to let that go, and you have to just kind of go for what you want, even if people don't understand it. And it's hard, don't get me wrong, it's really difficult. But we'll get into now what you think is going to happen versus what is actually going to happen. Again, if this is your pile, you'll know. You've probably clicked off by now if this was not for you. Okay, Spirit, can you tell me what this person thinks is going to happen from their situation? Okay, thank you. 9 of Swords and the Empress in reverse. That's really sad. I'm sorry that you're going through this, pile too. I know I gave you some tough love earlier, but whatever decision that you have on your mind, because I should have clarified about the decisions. With the 9 of Swords, like, it's really keeping you up at night. You have a lot of anxiety surrounding the situation, and you feel like if you decide to pursue whatever option is on your mind, that your worst fears are going to basically come true. And this is a very torture version of the 9 of Swords. As I said, this is very emo, but I could see somebody like the screen painting, what is it, Van Gogh, where they have their hands over their ears and they're yelling. That's what I'm getting from this specific card here. And then with Temperance in reverse, or the Empress, you feel like you're going to stop receiving from somebody if you decide, I feel like, to go with your goals, whether that's attention, whether that's all these opportunities that you have right now. You're scared that you're really going to lose control of the situation and that things aren't going to work out for you as you expected. It's almost like you feel like people love you for what you're doing for them rather than who you are, and that's really starting to get to you. So let me ask, why? I almost wonder why you feel like that. But I don't know if tarot is necessarily the way to get that answer for you, you know? What do you think is going to happen if you choose to settle? Because I feel like this is more so if you choose to pursue what you want to pursue. Okay, you think that things are going to be happy again, that it's going to be bright, that you're going to feel very warm, and that you're going to receive a lot of support from the people around you should you choose to settle. So this definitely does seem like an all or nothing mentality where you feel like you can't have it all right now with whatever it is that you're asking about. So Spirit, what is actually going to happen if they choose to settle? If they choose to settle, what is going to happen? Four of Swords in reverse. Ten of Pentacles. And the Page of Wands in reverse. Okay. Okay, and then what's going to happen if they choose to go after their manifestation? Six of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles. Can you clarify? Eight of Cups. Okay. What is the long term then? Because I see this being a short term, but I don't feel as though that's a good long term outcome. Nine of Spheres. Seven of Swords in reverse. And the Six of Swords in reverse. This is a tough situation to be in, pile 2. If you need some positivity, I would recommend clicking away from this video because this is not probably what you're going to be looking for if you really need something. But if you're here for the truth, then obviously I'm going to deliver it to you. I don't think that your fears are as unfounded as I thought that they were going to be. And maybe the Moon card was meant for me that I'm delusional. But I think I think we both know the truth deep down of what's going to come out of this situation. I'm starting to believe that this is more so a person. And this might be a case of neither option is the option for you, which sounds confusing. But it could be that you're trying to choose between two people and one person doesn't actually exist, or if they do, they seem like they're your person, but they might not be your person. Or if you're choosing to settle or go for a new career, it's going to take a lot of sacrifice for you moving into this new space or chasing after this dream. As of right now, because things can always change. I don't think any of these cards are major arcana, so this is not destined to happen. You can certainly change your situation right now, so this is as it stands currently for you. If you decide to stay, with the Ten of Spheres, there's money in this, there's stability in this. You can definitely build a generational legacy if you decide to be with this person or stay in this job or stay in this situation. But there's also a lack of rest happening here, to where you're going to be out of your comfort zone a lot. You're going to be working a lot. You're not really going to get a lot of rest and respite through this situation. And maybe that's what you're looking for. Maybe that's what you want. But it's going to take a lot of work, is what I'm seeing, to have this reach what you need it to reach. With the Page of Wands reversed, there's reckless and childish energy. If this person, if you're asking about a person, or you resonate with the Queen of Wands, you might be seeing yourself in a different way than who you are, or you might be seeing this person differently from who they are. If they are spontaneous and fun and charismatic, and they seem like they have their life together, the Moon card could be applying to them, telling you that this person is actually impulsive. They take a lot of risks for the sake of it, and they might start to create problems in this relationship that might be difficult later. And that explains maybe why you feel like they're around you, because maybe they like the stability that you provide. But here's the thing, if this is what you want, if you are the type of person that wants to provide your stability to other people, which is totally acceptable, then maybe this is fine. Maybe you're okay with someone being a bit reckless or being a bit spontaneous, and maybe you want to provide that for them. That is a-okay. If that's the lifestyle that you want, then that's the lifestyle that you are going to get. But it could be that, again, this person is around you because they want the success that you have. They want the stability that you have, not because they love you, but because they benefit from that. And they might not care about how you are impacted by their actions. They might not care about what happens to you in the process. They are only here so that they get their fill and they get their stability. But do they care about you? That is the question. Do you feel like they are providing to you in the same way that you provide to them? And think of this as an overarching concept, not a case-by-case basis. The example that I can think of is sometimes this person might be at 10% and you might be at 90%, and you might be giving a lot and a lot and a lot to them. Do they give back when you are at 10%? Can they also show up in their 90%? And if they can't, then are you willing to be in this relationship with them? Are you willing to settle with them knowing that? That is a decision that you can make. But I'm not going to tell you that it's going to get better, because it kind of seems like this person is not someone that you're going to be able to count on. I think that they're going to get distracted in this relationship. Things are going to fizzle out. They might abandon the relationship midway through. I can't say for sure, but I see that there's a bit of disappointment and frustration with them involved. And I'm going to give you the honesty, because sometimes you need to hear that about other people. Should you decide to manifest, I should maybe ask something more specific of if you pursue your manifestations, because maybe this is continuing to stay in this energy of the universe is going to just decide everything for me. That could be the case here. The initial cards that you received, and I'll put these off to the side, are the Six of Spears and the Five of Pentacles. It feels like this hopelessness and isolation is going to drag out a bit longer than necessary, and you're going to really struggle to connect with other people. You ask for help, but you don't feel like something is going to happen for you. There's a drought of resources and there's a drought of potential in your area. It might be that you need to give yourself a chance to move out of this situation. The other side of this is also kind of negative, but I feel like you're going to be in need, but there's not going to be somebody to help you out of this place if you decide to try to manifest. You are going to have to continue this journey by yourself, and that's probably the reason why you feel so isolated and abandoned and alone. Because again, maybe you were providing a lot for this person, but maybe this person couldn't show up for you in the same capacity. And the help that you are going to ask is going to come at a price. And it's going to feel like it's adding a weight to the current debt that you're under. And it just kind of seems like no matter how much you're trying to move forward, no matter how much that you're trying to pull yourself out of this rut, that when you ask for somebody to help you in return, this gives me the energy of like you burned yourself at the wick for this person. Like you literally gave your all to this person, and then now that you're in a place of need where you've given so much and sacrificed so much to them, you ask them, hey, can you please help me with this? I really need assistance. And this person might say, what more do you want from me? Or they might give you a half-hearted effort because they're benefiting from you. They're benefiting from your attention. They're benefiting from your success, but they don't want to help you. They care more about taking advantage of you than they do about you as a person. And this is really upsetting because it's not an easy lesson to learn. That's why I'm very sad for you. I've been in this place before as well, where you feel like you have to give to people sometimes to receive love in return. But the unfortunate reality is that no matter how much you give to people, sometimes they just can't be what you need them to be. Sometimes they don't know how to give to the capacity that you give. And if you're willing to accept that, then it feels a little lonely. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you feel taken advantage of a lot because you also deserve to have somebody take care of you the way that you take care of them. Are they gonna be able to do everything for you? No. You probably still have to do some things by yourself. It might be helpful to seek some sort of therapy to have somebody emotionally help you. But if you have somebody that does care and that does show up and it does feel like it matters to you, then I think that that's a good sign. And the other side of this question is, have you communicated with this person how you're feeling? If they try to dismiss you, are you willing to ask them, hey, can you put more effort into this? Or, hey, I feel dismissed. Can you please try to do this? And I think you have to have a plan in place as well of if they reject this and they tell you, I can't do this for you, you know your answer. And you'll know whether or not they're going to continue to show up for you and how to move forward from that situation. And maybe that's the information that you need to make your choice. If you choose to walk away from this situation, there's no going back to this. It's going to be really hard to get over that mountain. It's going to be really hard to say goodbye, but you can have comfort knowing that you tried everything to get this situation to work for you and that it didn't happen. That's what Spirit says whenever it pulls out this card. You did everything in your power to get it to work, and it just didn't. And sometimes that is enough reason for you to say, I've tried it, this doesn't work for me, I'm going to leave. Totally understandable. You are in the right in this case. You also have the Nine of Spheres, the Seven of Swords in reverse, and the Six of Swords in reverse. So I feel like this is just kind of reiterating what we've hit on so far with the Nine of Spheres of this manifestation isn't really as stable as you think that it is. Maybe this person isn't as stable as you think that it is. You're going to feel like your security rug got ripped out from you in the middle of the night, and that now all the stability that you've built thus far is not available for you to access anymore. But the beauty of it is that I think you're going to see the truth of the matter with this situation, especially with the Seven of Swords here. This can sometimes talk about not being able to trust. And so when it's in reverse, I think things are finally going to, the rose-colored glasses are going to be off. Like, you're going to be seeing something for the way that it is. You're going to find out if someone's been working against you, what they've been doing, and how they've been doing it in the first place. Maybe you're going to get an apology from the other person, or what was taken from you, what this person did, is going to return to you. Six of Swords in reverse. I think that there's definitely going to be a little bit of an interruption. And you thought that you were going to be leaving your troubles behind you. Maybe you've put a lot of the trouble onto this person, this fiery person, and you thought that if you just left, that there was going to be relief. But it might just be a situation where you need to ask for help. You need to ask for resources. You need to work through the issues that have happened in this relationship with the Page of Wands. Whether that is a relationship with yourself that you've been having that's pretty toxic, or whether that's with another person. Again, I think that, like, it's really easy for social media especially to tell us that when you break up with someone, it's their fault, or that the other person is the problem. But the way to grow is to address the issues within yourself as well, and to, one, forgive yourself for this happening, forgive yourself for these patterns, but two, also address maybe some issues that you had within this relationship. Maybe you struggled to communicate. Maybe you feel this, like, you're not enough for people, and so you feel like you have to provide for them to show them that you're enough, and that's a habit that you might need to get rid of. There's something here about addressing the problem that might have caused you to not move forward with the situation. It could also be that you feel a little bit stuck emotionally with this person, like it's hard to move forward because you still have feelings for them, which is natural. It's natural to feel that way. And it's going to take a while to let it go and to see the logic through the heart. So I'm definitely going to ask Spirit for some advice, because I feel like that's needed in this situation. So Spirit, what is some advice that you can give to pile 2? We're going to do mermaid cards and see if that works. Yeah, I knew this card was going to come out. Ask for help. If you have somebody that you trust in your life, then I would ask for their assistance, especially if they're an outside party. I think you need to ask somebody who's going to tell you the truth, and that you know is going to tell you the truth, even if it's hard. And if you don't have someone like that in your life, and you have access to resources like therapy, then I would recommend accessing whatever resources that you can to ask for help, because this is going to be a difficult journey. And I think you're going to need somebody that is going to support you even if you're at your lowest, if that makes sense. So that is all that I have for you for today, Pile 2. I apologize if it was uncomfortable. I really hope that your situation works out for you, and that everything becomes clearer for you, and that the decision gets easier for you to handle making. I'm not going to tell you which is the right decision and which is the wrong decision. I don't think that that is my place. It's dependent on the situation that you're in right now and how you feel about it and what you are and aren't willing to accept. But just know that I'm here for you. If you need to talk about your situation in the comments, feel free to. But I hope that you have a great rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching this, and that you see me in another video. Bye. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your reading. Your mystery topic for today is something about letting go. And based on your clarifying cards, there's a lot about escapism here and trying to take control of something to the detriment of yourself. You are continuing to push through something, or you're continuing to try to get something to happen when it doesn't really seem like anything is starting to give. It seems like this is a collective message overall. If you have found yourself drawn to other piles, there might be messages in there for you too, just because this is so similar to what I've discussed with other people. But you didn't come here to learn about other people, you came here to learn about yourself. So what the universe is having you let go of is related to dreaming, whether that's daydreams or dreams that you have when you're sleeping. You're using as a form of escapism to avoid fears that you have about yourself, or to avoid fears that you have about your future. You're wondering whether or not something is going to pay off for you, and I get the feeling that you're thinking or dreaming that this is going to be something fruitful for you, but only time is going to be able to tell whether or not you're going to see results. With the ring here especially, I wonder if this is just dreams in general of being married to an idea, or married to a concept, or married to a dream that you have, whether this is related to a person or something that you're actively trying to manifest. And I think that it is a good thing to try to be more connected to yourself and try to be more connected to other people. But what it seems like the universe is trying to tell you is your dreams need structure. Your dreams need planning. And I know that this isn't fun with tarot, that sometimes you came here because you want to know your dreams are going to pay off, that something's going to happen for you. And the universe doesn't seem to be saying that it's not going to. It just seems to be telling you that, yeah, your dreaming is fine and all. I'm sure that your dreams are leading you to wonderful places, but there is a need to be more controlled about the way that you navigate this, and they're asking you to put some sort of structure down for you to be able to accomplish what it is that you would like to accomplish. The reason that you're here is because you feel fairly happy with where your life has taken you. It seems like you've started to settle, but you've had to go for something that is just lackluster, that you weren't hoping to go for. It seems as though this dream of yours was stripped away from you, and now that you have the second best option, you might be wondering whether or not you're going to finally get the primary option that you're going to ask for. So I think a lot of what this tarot reading for you is going to entail is whether or not that's going to happen, and how you can structure your life to get there. So I'm going to clear the table, and then I'm going to start asking those questions for you if this is your pile. Scratch what I said earlier. I got a little bit more in depth of what the situation was, and I think this might be related to a person. I don't know if you've gotten married to somebody that you're just not passionate about anymore, or if you're having doubts about the relationship itself. But from what I can see here, the primary option that you wanted for yourself was fulfillment. 10 of Cups. You thought that the situation was going to lead to a family of some kind, for instance. It was going to lead to you feeling like you're full and happy and that everything is under control. But based on the fact that you're here right now and your why, it seems like you don't feel that level of satisfaction anymore with your partner, or maybe that the life that you have now. And you felt like the life that you have now was fair for you. Like this was going to be what you wanted. This was going to justify everything else that you had gone through maybe, or that this was what you deserved. And you wanted to really stay in that lavender haze, if you will. You wanted to stay in this honeymoon period. You wanted things to never change. And unfortunately, it kind of seems like you wanted to stay stuck when you couldn't. You were literally forced to move on from whatever it is that you're asking about. It wasn't your choice. And that might be why you're here right now, because you feel like you should be happy with what you have, but you're really not. You really wanted things to just be what they were and to continue to be fair. As I said, like, this is what pushed you out of that cycle. The universe said, we're going to take you out of your comfort zone. You have to take the leap of faith. You have to take the fall. You have to take the risk. The universe thrust you into this brand new chapter, and maybe that's uncomfortable for you. Maybe you're the type of person that likes to have a plan in place, and now you feel the fool trying to navigate this brand new circumstance, this brand new environment. I'm hearing when baby birds get pushed out of the tree to have to learn to fly. That's the situation that you're in right now. You are literally having to learn how to adapt to this new environment, to this new circumstance, and you have to be very confident about the way that you approach this new situation. And that's obviously very uncomfortable, because we can be the fool at any point in our lives, and I think the older that we get, the less and less comfortable people are with being that fool. The second option that you were given is a connection that I don't think is necessarily a bad connection. You form some sort of bond with somebody that feels soulmate related, whether that's a friendship, a business partnership, a marriage of some kind. I'm inclined to believe it may be more so marriage related, with ring and then the Four of Wands, which is traditionally related to marriage. But it didn't make you as happy as you thought that it was going to make you. Like, you're missing out on the adventure and the passion, and it kind of feels like the spark that you had with this person might have fizzled out overnight, and now you're left feeling like there was so much potential that you could explore with this person, but now it's just not there anymore. And to you, it kind of feels like you're trying to get two different people to come together to form some new union, but it's not working. That's kind of the situation that I'm getting here, is that you thought things were going to stay the same. You thought you were going to be happy. You thought that this was going to resolve all of your problems. Then you were kind of forced to move forward into a brand new chapter of your life. And now you feel like you almost have to settle with what you have, even though you're not satisfied, and it feels like pulling teeth trying to get some sort of change. What is dissatisfactory about the current situation that they're in? What do they want exactly to happen? I feel like understanding the why is very important. Interesting. You feel like you have what you need already. Let's clarify the Four of Cups, because this could be a lot of different things here. It could be that you're just not accepting what this person has to offer you because you... Before I speak out of my butt. Why? Okay. Mother of Pentacles in reverse. But who is this related to? I guess you'll know based on who I'm talking about here. This almost feels like somebody who is so caught up in their daydreams of wanting something that it's hard for them to live within reality. Which, I'm not trying to come at you in a confrontational way to say that that's a bad way to live life. You seem like you want to be taken care of better than what you're being taken care of right now. That seems to be a need that's not really met, because the Mother of Pentacles is someone who is mostly financially dependent on a partner or financially dependent on somebody else. They don't really want to make their own decisions in life, and they might gravitate towards other people that will make those decisions for them. They're not somebody who is capable of being practical or realistic. So I think that now you might be second guessing yourself or your connection to this partner, because maybe the situation that you're in is you didn't marry this person for love, or you didn't marry this person because you were passionate about them. You had to marry them because they were what you thought that you needed. You thought that they were the stable option for you, and now that they have shown you that, but they don't give anything more to what you need, you're daydreaming about being somewhere else. And I'm not going to criticize situations like this because I'm living in Western society. I am a white woman, obviously. This could talk about arranged marriage, is what I'm trying to say. And maybe you don't love this person because it's not what you expected. This could also talk about someone who doesn't really want to work hard anymore. They just want to receive. And that might be why the universe is trying to wake you up from this escapism, because they're like, again, if you want to accomplish your dreams and if you want the primary option to work, you can't depend on other people to make that decision for you. You have to be that for yourself. So there's this level of not accepting what this other person or what the situation or the universe has to offer. And there's this meh energy of feeling discontent because you want to receive, but even the stuff that is being offered to you right now, you're maybe not taking because you might not feel as though it is for you, or you might worry about the amount of work that it's going to take. But the unfortunate reality that I'm going to tell you is, again, as I said with Pile 2, you can't wait for other people to do that for you. You have to sometimes accept offers that you don't enjoy to get ahead in life. It's unfortunate. Like, I wish I was born rich too. I wish that I had access to resources that would be able to help me out day by day. But I still got to show up to my 40-hour work week, as much as I don't enjoy it. And that's the hard lesson to learn. What can you do then to navigate this situation? Temperance. So bring some form of balance into your life, I think, is very important for this type of situation. You've been trying to do that for a while, but it kind of seems like things are a bit chaotic, or that if this is related to a person, that person's just too different for you. But I think that what this can really talk about is a good way to force yourself to do something for the long term is figure out what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. And sometimes what's really helpful for me is there are some days where I'm like, I want to do this. I know that I enjoy doing this. For instance, I code at work, and I really like coding my own personal projects. And some days when it's like, I know that I have to do something that I really hate having to do during the week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dedicate some small chunk of time to code. And the goal will be, okay, so this morning I'm going to plan and block off my calendar to do the thing that I hate doing, and I'm just going to get it done. And then as a form of comfort, I'm not going to punish myself. I'm just going to take the last bit of my day to code and not feel pressured to do the thing that I hate doing for today. Whatever I need to do the next day, I will do the next day. That's a good form of incentivizing yourself to get through the bullshit. It's just doing things that you love doing and making the time to do that. But then, like, the time that you don't have to do the thing that you love doing, you do the thing that you hate, and you just get it over with, you get it done with. Doesn't matter how perfect it is, doesn't matter how much it lives up to your dream. Sometimes you just have to do it. That's a good way to do things, is to have that balance of things that you love and things that you hate. That works for me, might not work for you. If this is about another person, you might need to talk to them and say, I really want this in our relationship, and I would like it if you do this. And then if that person is a bit resistive to that, then maybe you can say, let's compromise and let's see if we can try it for a little while. If you don't like it, we can go back to a different way of things. But that is the thing of, like, making sure that both of your needs are balanced, because maybe you've been giving a lot to this person and they haven't really been giving back type of deal. Maybe it could be that you need more spontaneity in the relationship and you're like, hey, I know that you provide stability, but I need a bit more of this. Like, just communicating that, I feel like would be helpful, and trying to maybe see the good in your relationship is another big thing that I've seen across my feed. Maybe that person is trying to love you and you don't really realize the fact that they are going out of their way to love you that way. Like, some of the interesting relationships that, how do I say this? We all have different love languages, right? And that person's love language might be more words of affirmation and your love language might be more acts of service, right? So maybe this person is going out of their way to say, you're awesome, you're amazing, I love you, because that's the way that they feel loved. But you don't feel loved that way because that's not your love language. You would rather this person do something nice for you or perform a service for you. But that other person is not going to realize that until you actually speak up to them and tell them, I would like you to do this thing for me. This is how I feel loved. And if that person doesn't do that for you and you feel like things have fizzled out, then maybe it is okay for you to walk away from the situation. Maybe it is okay to say, this isn't enough for me, I'm gonna go look for something else. I feel like sometimes daydreaming, even though it's very normal in relationships, is very indicative of what you do need, but they can't know that unless you tell them. They can't know that unless you say, this is what I need. And if you've had that conversation time and time again and you're still not satisfied with where you're at in life, it is okay to say, hey, I'm not satisfied with this anymore, and to provide that ultimatum.
Something that I wish I said more here too, editing Madison here, is that you need to make sure that your needs are being met and that you are both loving each other in a way that is conducive to both of your needs. The usage of different love languages here is pretty relevant because this person might think that you have the same love language that they do, and so they're trying to love you in a way that they know is best for them, without even realizing that it's not best for you. That's what I was trying to say here. And there needs to be a balance in terms of recognizing which person has which love language, which person has which need. And if you feel like you are going out of your way to love this person in the way that they're asking to be loved, but they're not loving you in the way that you're asking to be loved, maybe they just need that conversation to steer them in the right direction and to realize, oh, this might work for me, but just because it works for me does not mean that it's working for them. And I've run into this trap before in my own relationships. It can be a little bit frustrating. You can feel like you're not being met where you're at, or that this person isn't trying to understand you. But as long as they're not dismissive about that need and they don't try to get you to assume that your needs should be the same as theirs, I think that you will find that you'll be happy trying to get it to work, and that eventually they will get it right and things will feel as they felt before.
Whatever it is, obviously, balance is very important. How else can they navigate this situation, Spirit? Ace of Pentacles in reverse. This might be a conversation that's a bit hard to have, but the Ace of Pentacles sometimes talks about the investment you make or the time you put into something is a lost cause. And I think that we as humans are very scared of that. We feel like we have to stick to the time that we put into something or someone. And this can be very dangerous because on social media, there's that saying of the longer that you stay on the bus, the harder that it is to get off from that bus. It's hard because if this is with a person or with a job, for instance, this didn't happen overnight. This is something that you are probably connected to or once did love. And it's really hard to walk away from something that you've invested in because you want to do your past self justice with that those cards earlier of the Ten of Cups, this was what you wanted at one point in time, and this isn't what you wanted anymore, and it's okay to change. You don't have to be stuck in this commitment. You don't have to be stuck in this contract if it isn't what you want. You don't have to put up with something just because somebody says that you have to, or just because you've invested the time into it. The reason why we have experiences and why we don't have a roadmap to life is because there is not one size fits all. And sometimes the way to figure out what it is that you want is you're gonna have to do the things that you don't want to do first. And you never know, maybe some things are going to surprise you, but that information of what you don't like is just as valuable. It just kind of sucks that there is a consequence to it, especially if there's another person involved. But forgiving yourself for that, I think, is very important, and starting to realize that it's okay to walk away, I think, is pretty solid advice from the universe. And I'm feeling one more of help to navigate the situation. Three of Swords in reverse. Oh, I think I see what this is saying. It's better to cut suffering short and heartbreak short than it is to continue to live in that heartbreak on a day-by-day basis. You might be worried about what this other person is going to say if you decide that you don't want this anymore for yourself. And while I understand that sentiment, you're not really responsible for how that other person reacts to things. I've been in breakups before, let's just say that. And most of my relationships, well, all of them, honestly, I've usually been the one to cut things off with the other person. And a lot of the reasons why I didn't do it at first was because I was afraid of their mental health, or I was afraid that they were going to hurt themselves. But it turned out that that worst case scenario was not what I thought was going to happen. And
But in actuality, it is a lot kinder to break things off earlier, because it allows that person to find what they need. And unfortunately, when you do stick around and you do the noble thing of being with someone where you know things aren't going to work, you are going to build resentment towards that person, because they're going to not be able to provide and care for you in the way that you're caring for them. And you're going to see that they're happy with the love that you give to them, but you're not happy with the love that they give to you. And your natural human response is to be upset about that. And eventually you're going to do nasty things that you really wish that you didn't do in response to that resentment, whether it's unconscious or conscious, and eventually the relationship is going to fall apart regardless. So to get off the train early and to say, this isn't working for me, we've tried everything, I would like to see other people, is a lot kinder than it is to keep living this lie with another person and to keep pretending like everything's okay and everything's going to work out when you know damn well it isn't. That shows to me that that person needs something else in their life, and that person needs to find somebody that does love them in the way that's easy for them to be loved, and vice versa. Like, you deserve to be with somebody as well who cares about you and who goes out of their way to make sure that you feel held and to make sure that you feel good. Is it hard? Yeah, because you have a lot of good memories with this person. Obviously, you don't want to disrespect them. You don't want to hurt them. You want to make sure that they're good. But at the end of the day, if you don't like something, or you find that you're falling out of someone, I don't believe in sticking it out and staying for the sake of sticking it out and staying. There has to be a reason as to why you decide to stay with that person, and it's a two-way street. You need that balance of figuring out what works for you, what doesn't, and they have to listen to that balance. It's a relationship. It's not a one-sided thing.
And if that person needs additional support or needs somebody else there for them when that situation happens, then that is their responsibility. You are not responsible for being that person's therapist. You're not responsible for fixing that person. You are responsible for being honest and for being caring and for being professional, but that is the extent of what I believe that you owe another human being. So I hope that that was helpful for pile 3. If you resonated with what I was talking about here, then please leave a like, share, comment, subscribe. I hope to see you in another video. I hope that the situation goes well for you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.